Rick Spielman, someone who the Jets hired, a former general manager himself, has revealed some of the details of this search for the next GM and head coach of the New York Jets. Let's reveal and talk about it.
I'm gonna lose my gosh darn bananas. Boy Green Daily starts now. Zoinks!
I made it clear that my intention was to play, and my intention was to play for the New York Jets.
You're fucking wrong!
What's going on, everybody? I'm Paul Eston Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Happy.com. Welcome to Boy Green Daily, a daily New York Jets video show bringing you all the juicy deets on all things New York Jets. Welcome to the program. Happy holidays, everybody. My last radio show of the week was yesterday, so we got Boy Green Daily every day the rest of the way, and all the Jets articles you can find, of course, on Heavy.com. We'll be writing about all things New York Jets. Before we get this party started, let's give a shout out to diving into the deep end of the pool right off the top of the show, our number one Austrian Jet fan gifting a Boy Green Coffee Club membership. You love to see it, baby. Let's update the banner. We're now 45 members away from our number one Austrian Jet fan from getting his emoji in Weeboo9469. You are now a member of the Boy Green Coffee Club. You guys can, of course, all join the Boy Green Coffee Club. That is a pinned comment currently on YouTube to punch in your own ticket. If you'd like to gift a membership like number one Austrian Jet fan just did, just go to YouTube and hit the money sign while you're watching and to gift as many memberships as you like. Hit the money sign, hit gift channel memberships, a final option available there. And then, of course, just get into the deep end of the pool and gift as many as you'd like. And there's the Discord link for Jared B., our moderator, here in the chat. So the Jets hired the 33rd Team, which is a digital media analytical company. They provide, information, statistics, analytics, information. Mike Tannenbaum, who helped create the 33rd Team, the co-author, the maestro behind the scenes. He put it all together, but he will be the lead on this project with the Jets, according to Rick Spielman. And Rick Spielman himself will be involved as well in this project, which makes a lot of sense because Rick Spielman, a longtime former NFL general manager, multi-time NFL general manager, and then Mike Tannenbaum, they both have tons of experience. But he does an interview, or not an interview, excuse me. It was technically an interview, I guess, but Rick Spielman is part of a draft podcast. So he spent 15 minutes speak with Ryan Wilson of CBS and talking about this new gig of being hired by the New York Jets, characteristics, things they're looking for. And one of the more interesting things, and we'll play a clip from the podcast here in just a moment, but one of the interesting things about what Rick Spielman said is part of the because they're gathering information right now. And there's a lot of restrictions and rules. We've talked about it a little bit on this show that you have to wait till the season's over before you can really start to interview these candidates. Long story short, as Rick Spielman described on the podcast, it's much more strict for coaches because there's limitations to how you could Zoom interview with them, how you can do in-person interviews, especially when those coaches are in the playoffs and things and things of that nature. So that makes it more difficult from that perspective. But for GMs, it's a little bit easier to start interviewing people immediately, so that's normally why it goes through. Jake Klein drops a comment in here, and thank you, Jake. I appreciate you interacting with the show. They're both fired GMs. Why should I believe them? Jake, isn't every GM a fired GM? You know what I mean? Like, you either, like Robert Saleh, which is always a great person to quote, he said, you either have been fired or you're inevitably going to be fired. And to be honest, while that's quite blunt, I mean, isn't that the truth? So I don't think the fact that they've been fired before should take away. As a matter of fact, I think being fired should assist, should help, that because they know the trials and tribulations of the reasons they were fired and what went wrong and what can go right. So I would just say this, and it's kind of what Jared B just said. I mean, Jake, would you rather believe Woody? But it's not even about Woody specifically. More information can't hurt. Now, I've heard about, paralysis by analysis, that overanalyzing sometimes could go too deep, but I'd rather have that be an issue as the Jets are going through this search. The Jets should have all the information available. And I'm all for the Jets hiring the 33rd team. We talked about it a couple days ago. I am absolutely all for it. There's no question about it. Bring it on. Help. Because to be honest, if we're gonna look, the 33rd team, or aka Rick Spielman, not the 33rd team. So let me not mischaracterize, because the 33rd team, their assistance in this search with the Jets is their first assistance with an NFL head coach GM search. They've done several college football searches. They have not participated until right now into an NFL search. But obviously, Mike Tannenbaum himself and Rick Spielman have hired executives. They've been in those positions during their careers. So they themselves have personal experience with it. But the 33rd team as an entity being hired to assist in a search of this nature, it's a first-time thing from an NFL perspective for those guys. That part is true. That part is true. But to me, more information is better. And that'd be great. Jay Klein says, which colleges? They didn't list that in the column, so I'm unclear. But I would, if I'm the 33rd team, I probably want that information out. I'd want the information out publicly that they were helping the Jets, because that assists them, I'm sure, in getting even future searching jobs. So yeah, let me address this, because Austrian Jet fan says I read Adam Gase is in the 33rd team. Let me try to explain, and I'll bring someone from the 33rd team on so they can explain. They follow me on Twitter, so I'd love to bring someone on here. But there are a lot of people that work with or around the 33rd team, and Adam Gase is someone that's been hired. I don't even know what his role is there, to be honest. It's some like analyst role, basically. But the reason why I wanted to bring this up is because people are saying, Adam Gates going to run the search. Now, I'm not saying you're saying that, number one Austrian Jet, but I've heard other people say that. Whoa. He's not involved. The Jets hired the 33rd team, led by Mike Tannenbaum, according to Rick Spielman. And Rick Spielman, the Jets wanted a part of it, which, again, makes a lot of sense. He has a ton of experience. But, not every boob at the 33rd team is going to be involved in this high-level, multi-million-dollar project. So if Adam Gase works in the building as a freelancer, hey, what are your thoughts, former NFL head coach in a couple of spots, I think they have him more in that kind of role, not in particularly assisting the Jets, because again, that was a disaster, obviously. So I don't think any of us want any part of that, and I don't think that's anything we have to be worried about. Let me just put it that way. So don't be worried if you start looking up random people that work at the 33rd team and what connections they could have to the Jets. I don't think we need that. Yeah, exactly. Number one Austrian Jet fan says, Gay's coffee department specialist. So there you go. I love that. JB, how in the world can the Jets be in this position, especially before Thanksgiving? It's sad, JB, to be honest with you, as a fan. This was supposed to be a Super Bowl year. Their head coach is gone. Their GM's gone. And maybe their quarterback's going to be gone. So, it's hell, man. It's hell. But measure twice, cut once. The Jets need to get it right. They've been mired in mediocrity forever, and they need to fix it. I think that's the key, and I think we can all agree on that. You need to set a proper foundation here, and the Jets have an opportunity to do so. In just a moment, we'll play a clip from the podcast, because to me, the interesting thing that Rick Spielman said was that the interview, the candidate list that is included for the New York Jets and things of that nature is some of the candidates they interviewed for the Washington job, which I'm about to bring up. But why don't we do this? Let's hear from Rick Spielman himself. This is a clip from his podcast explaining his role and the 33rd team's role in assisting the New York Jets in finding a new general manager and head coach.
Yeah, no, I was asked to join the 33rd team on Mike Tannenbaum, which is another organization, to come in and help the Jets go through the process of hiring the next general manager and head coach. Very similar to what I did last year. A lot of information gathering, a lot of contacts that I do have, a lot of guys that I know. I've interviewed a lot of the guys already currently that are going to end up being on the list. I'll probably
previously interviewed him, you mean?
Yes, I either previously interviewed them last year or through the summer. I also work as one of the side gigs, talking to some of these up and coming general managers and head coaches. Just agents will reach out and let me ask me to spend an hour and a half with their clients, just so, one, I get to know them, and two, try to give them some feedback on how they interview. Plus, it keeps me in the loop, on all these new candidates coming in. And then you remember last May, I also had the privilege of working with the league office in their accelerator program. Got to meet 20 coaches that some are ready, some aren't ready to be head coaches in the league, but just ways to continue in this accelerator program to educate the next upcoming head coaches over the next, maybe not this year or next year, but down the road, they should be future head coaches, and got an opportunity to know a lot of those guys. So just being able to contribute, I would kind of put it as, Ryan Wilson, like this podcast. I'm just a scout in the corner. I will give my opinion. I will help with the interviews. I will talk to a lot of sources out there, collect a lot of information, give the information, and then let the owner of the Jets and the organization make the final decisions on who their next head coach and general manager will be. So basically, a little bit of an informational gatherer, a little bit of my opinion on how they interview, and then you kick all that information over, working with Mike Tannenbaum, and then the ownership and the higher ups or the decision makers will take that information and then take it from there.
We got a question here from Luca coming off of this, and again, shout out to the podcast for Rick Spielman, and of course as well there with Mike Tannenbaum, who are there at the 33rd team. This is their own separate thing, and the podcast, is called With the First Pick Podcast. It's a part of the CBS Sports Podcast Network. So shout out to Rick Spielman. Also, Ryan Wilson is asking a lot of the questions of Rick Spielman. But the question is, with Tannenbaum involved, does this increase Rex's chance for return? Look, it doesn't hurt his chances, to be honest, especially hearing from Spielman that Mike Tannenbaum will be the lead on this project. Again, I want to repeat this to make it perfectly clear. The Jets make the final decision. Mike Tannenbaum is not just taking over the operation now. He's hiring the next GM and head coach. So he's not going to directly hire, but he will directly influence with information and thoughts and everything else. And Woody Johnson obviously has known him forever, because Tannenbaum was there for the first, give or take, 12 years of Woody Johnson's ownership. So yeah, he knows the guy. But does this increase Rex's chances? Yeah, I would say it helps. And it certainly doesn't hurt. That's what I would say. Now, you also heard there from Spielman about this interview list, about guys that he's already met with. So, guys, you can hear this list, for better or for worse, and you can let us know how you feel about these. So here's some of the candidates that were in the conversation at general manager for the Washington Commanders. And these are guys that Rick Spielman interviewed that would very likely be on the same list as the New York Jets. And here it is. Ian Cunningham, he's of the Chicago Bears. He was an assistant GM of the Bears. He was the other finalist along with Adam Peters. But there were some other guys that were candidates and interviewed for the position. Glenn Cook, Alec Hallaby, and Will McClay, my guy from the Dallas Cowboys that I told you guys about. It's great to hear that he was a part of that process with the Commanders, which means he could be part of that process with the Jets. And he's been the secret sauce to a lot of those Cowboys draft classes. We can make fun of the Cowboys for a lot of reasons, but the drafts have been outstanding. Here's some of the head coaches that the Commanders interviewed or were in the process with. Ben Johnson. He was very much in the conversation with the Washington Commanders. Now, ultimately, went back to his Lions job. But there you go. They did an interview with him in Zoom and in person for Ben Johnson. Okay, the Detroit Lions offensive coordinator. Aaron Glenn was an in-person interview. So Aaron Glenn, the Lions defensive coordinator. Dan Quinn, of course, who they ultimately ended up hiring, also had in-person interviews and things of that nature. Anthony Weaver, who is the Baltimore Ravens associate head coach, D-line coach, he had an in-person interview, also did a Zoom interview as well. He was in the conversation. Mike McDonald, he was at the time the Ravens defensive coordinator, in-person interviews, Zoom interviews, but he ultimately ended up with the Seattle Seahawks job. Bobby Slowick was on this list for the Commanders, which again I'm just revealing because I have the article up from the Commanders of people that they interviewed, and thus Spielman said a lot of those people they interview will also be opportunities for the Jets. Bobby Slowick, who interviewed in person, he was and is the Houston Texans offense coordinator. Eric Bieniemy was one of those in-house options. He was at the time Washington's offense coordinator. Now he's in college. That was part of that process because he was in the building, so he got an opportunity. So I don't know if I'd read a lot into that one specifically, but those are the guys. So again, to reread, that's a hard word to say apparently, some of the candidates that they interviewed. Bobby Slowick of the Texans. And I'll take out the ones that are head coaches now because they're irrelevant. But Anthony Weaver, the Baltimore Ravens, he was on this list. Aaron Glenn of the Detroit Lions and Ben Johnson of the Detroit Lions. Those are the names that they kicked the tires on, which again would go all the way through this process. Let's go back to Jake, who says, hiring Rex. Bless myself. Hiring Rex would make this entire clown show 33rd team search a waste of bleep. I would just say this. I've said it before. I think all the Rex Ryan hubbub is exactly what it is, hubbub. I know some people are for Rex and this or that. He's exciting. He's a rah-rah guy. His campaign speeches on the podcast are fun to listen to. I would be completely stunned if the Jets hire Rex Ryan. Completely stunned. It's just, I just don't see it happening. Again, Mike Tannenbaum being there probably helps. Maybe get Rex an interview, but I just feel like Woody's ready for a new direction. And I don't think going back to what was successful, and that was the last success that Jets have had in 14 seasons, I'm sure that would be intriguing. But I'm pretty sure the Jets want to start anew. But that would be crazy if Rex Ryan gets hired. Brian Farrell, happy Thanksgiving, you damn turkeys. Yep, Thanksgiving tomorrow. Absolutely. There we go. Brandon A says, I have a feeling Aaron Glenn will be the head coach. Possible. Again, there's a lot of connective tissue there. A coming home story. He's a former first-round pick of the New York Jets. He's been on the fence to get one of these head coaching jobs. He's gotten a lot of interviews. A defensive guy, which again, there are successful defensive guys in the league. There's no question about it. There are successful guys. I'd prefer offense if you could get it. Now, that's not a guarantee. You can't force a square peg into the round hole and hire some random person's offensive coordinator because you just wanted offense. It's got to be the right fit. It's got to be the right combination. But Aaron Glenn would be an interesting one. That'd be a sell job. But I'd prefer offensive coordinator. Paul Molina. Rex Ryan and Ben Johnson, that's my list for head coaches. I like Ben Johnson a lot. That'd be great. He doesn't have prior experience, which is a little concerning. Like, he has been a head coach before. So you'll get a first-time guy. And again, when you get a first-time guy and you hit the ball out of the ballpark, it's terrific. You got this guy forever. But if they haven't run the ship before, it's a guessing game on whether or not you believe they have the right leadership skills or what have you to lead a room. And that's where you're guessing. A good comment here from NC. This is going to be 33rd's first big gig with an NFL team. They're going to use their A team to get it right. I would assume so. They do not want this to be the first and only time that they assisted an NFL team with the search. They would love nothing more than to unload all of their services they have available. Jets hit a home run with their GM and head coach, and then everyone turns around and goes, damn, the 33rd team took them to a next level. And the NFL, folks, is a copycat league. If the 33rd team search firm, basically, for lack of a better word, works for the Jets, everyone's going to be flooding to the 33rd team. So, yes, the 33rd team would be crazy not to deliver its best possible, combination of action. There's no doubt about it. So, yeah, that'd be great. Let me make sure I answered everyone's questions. My pop is in here. Let's see. The Moron gear is available in the Boy Green merch store if you guys would like that. Stocking stuffers, perhaps. Yep, the Boy Green official merch shop is down below, so feel free. All cores are covered and cooled. There you go. And ready to power the Griswold Christmas lights. Woody shirt available. I'll have to discuss with Woody because I don't have rights over Woody and his likeness. But I'll put that on the list. Number one Austrian Jet fan. Some sort of Woody merch. I'll discuss that with Woody. I'll get that out there. See, Boy Green meets Woody merch, or just Woody merch in general. I think would be pretty cool. He's got a lot of interesting vernacular that I think would be well received. So we'll look at that. We'll dig in on that. We'll do a deep dive. Yes, and Hop on Pop will be on tomorrow for a Hop on Pop special. He'll also be on Saturday, I believe, is his scheduled day, and Woody will be on Sunday. And no Boy Green meets Woody this week. We had a complication with the schedule. That's all on me. I'll take the L. I messed it all up yesterday. But we will have Woody back on Sunday. But I really like this list of guys that they dug in yesterday. If I had to go through, let me just go through one more time. Okay, so Ben Johnson, yeah, I'd be all for. Sign me up. Aaron Glenn, for the interview process at least, of course. Yeah, let's go through. Anthony Weaver, all right. Ravens, plucking fruit from the Ravens tree is never a bad idea. Bobby Slowick, I don't really know. Let's pull up the Bobby Slowick resume. My gut is, I want an offensive guy, so that technically checks off that part of the bucket list. This guy is super young. He's 37. Ben Johnson's not much older. Here is his background. Interestingly enough, he started on the defensive side of the ball for the first 7-8 years of his career with the Washington football team and the 49ers. He was a defensive assistant and defense quality control coach, so he has a balance of defense. And then he jumped over to offense in 2019. So he is only freshly offense from 2019 moving forward. He was the 49ers offensive assistant, offensive pass game specialist, offensive pass game coordinator, and then ultimately offensive coordinator for the Texans. Based on how all the 49ers stuff has been going with Saleh and Ulbrich and everybody else, I'm not so sure I want to go back down the 49ers copy and paste tree. So I'm kind of leaning on a no there for old Bobby Slowick. Again, I want offense, so I guess I couldn't complain about that part, but not so sure. Jared B. Paul, where did the name 33rd team come from? I would just assume there's 32 teams in the NFL. They're the 33rd team is how they were selling it, is that, they're an expansion NFL team basically with all of their people. And by the way, not a bad name considering they have a bunch of former general managers. They have a bunch of former head coaches. They have NFL insiders. Ari Meroff is their resident NFL insider. So they have analysts, coaches, GMs, insiders. It's a really cool setup. And now that they're getting the official nod, tip of the cap from the NFL to assist with an NFL search, their profile is only continuing to rise. I think they were created in 2019, 2020, somewhere in that range. So I believe that would be the simplest way for the 33rd team. Alan, happy pre-Turkey Day. It is Turkey Eve, I suppose. Look at MFC, baby, gifting a membership to the Boy Green Coffee Club. Let's go. Shakalaka. Let's update the banner, baby. We're 44, the legendary 44 here in Syracuse for so many of us. 44. The Legend 44. I'll have a story about that in a second. But shout out to Randy23. You were gifted a membership from mother_effing_chew. Happy holidays, and thank you to MFC for gifting that. Yeah, Legendary 44's random detour here. Jim Brown, Ernie Davis, Floyd Little, Larry Zonka. I mean, look at the 44s all time in Syracuse history, which I was a big football historical fan of Syracuse from afar. Then we moved here to town. Me and my dad had season tickets for a long time, and that was a lot of fun. And I had the pleasure. I try never to take what I do for granted because it's a sweet gig, man. It's a sweet gig. I won't lie. It's a super sweet gig. Into this business, technically in the radio business, about 10 years ago, give or take. It's like 9 years ago. I got into the radio business, and you get to meet a lot of freaking cool people, man. A lot of freaking cool people. And one of the coolest people I've ever met, and I pinch myself, is getting to meet and know the legend that is Floyd Little. He is a Pro Football Hall of Famer. He is a legend. He's a Syracuse legend. He's a football icon. I mean, I got the pleasure to meet Floyd Little. I know his wife. Just an awesome man. I got to try on his Pro Football Hall of Fame ring. He used to visit the radio station. We did interviews with him in person. I used to cover pre-COVID. I covered all the Syracuse football games, so I'd be in the dome, like in the media part of the press box. I'd be up there, and I'd run into Floyd Little all the time. God rest his soul. Floyd Little is no longer with us. But that was so cool, man. Absolutely. Floyd Little was an awesome man. So cool. I've got pictures with him. He let me wear the ring. We got to hang out. I still have some of the interviews saved with Floyd Little from way back in the day, a bunch of years ago. But man, Floyd Little, super cool. And I try to, like, what? I knew Floyd Little? Like, super cool. Like I said, I pinch myself with all the cool people you get to interview and meet in this business. So that's awesome, man. That's absolutely awesome. So shout out. So we are 44 members away. The legendary 44, baby, from our number one Austrian Jet fan getting his emoji. But 44 is a special number. It's a special number, man. So absolute love. We'll open up the phone lines here in just a few minutes. Let's keep it going here. Brandon Ace, we need a Dan Campbell type coach in New York, New Jersey. Let's have some Jets have some soft ass players. Yeah, Mike Vrabel, I guess, would fit that card. Dan Campbell is a former NFL player. Mike Vrabel's a former NFL player. Vrabel having more success as a multi-Super Bowl champion, of course. So he would crack the whip. He's currently like an assistant for the Cleveland Browns. He kind of took a year off, basically, from the head coaching and just was a side coach. So he would probably fit that bill. We'll see if how much he's in demand. Let's go to Joe here on Twitter. If the candidates they interviewed for the Commanders job wasn't good enough for the Commanders, why should the Jets consider them for their position? That's an interesting question that you pose in that way, Joe. I would say this. You know, it's not like there's only one good candidate and then Washington got him and everyone else sucks. And to be honest, another part of this we haven't really talked about on the show today is obviously everyone has different characteristics and things they're looking for. Rick Spielman talked a little bit about that on the podcast, both from a GM perspective and head coach perspective. So they just had a meeting. It was Rick Spielman, Mike Tannenbaum, and they met up in New York with the Jets and whoever else was in the room. And the Jets laid on the table, hey, here's what we're looking for in a GM. This. Here's what we're looking for in a head coach. This. And they weren't very specific on the podcast about exactly what they're looking for yet because they're still on this information gathering stage. But their general manager, Adam Peters, was a first-time general manager. Interesting. Was that something the Washington Commanders were specifically looking for? Maybe. And he was around a lot of Super Bowl winning. Then Dan Quinn was a retread. He had been a head coach before the Atlanta Falcons. Again, was that part of the process? And the Jets weren't available last year. So if the candidates they interview weren't good enough for that job, why should the Jets consider them for their position? Well, are the Jets better than the Washington Commanders, this historic franchise that's won multiple Super Bowls? And there's market, there's area, there's conference. That's an NFC job. There's an AFC job. There's so many factors that go into it that I don't think I would look at it that way, Joe. That the people that didn't get that, for instance, for me, here's an example. I love Will McClay. I said that name months ago. I still say that name now. He is this guy that works for the Dallas Cowboys. And let me get his official title. But long story short, he runs the drafts for the Dallas Cowboys. His official title is have him as the VP of Player Personnel for the Dallas Cowboys. A former player. He coached and had a variety of executive roles in his career. He's 58 years old. He's from Memphis, Tennessee. And he's been with the Cowboys since, let's see here. He's been a head coach before. He's been coordinator. Like, he had a long coaching career. From 1993 through 2008, he was a coach, either coordinator, head coach, everything. And then he got into an executive role as well. He also did some of that while he was a coach. He did both coach and GM role. He started his executive career in 97. That was in the middle of his coaching career, which is impressive for a lot of the stuff he did. But he's been with the Cowboys since 2002 as a pro scout, and he just rose up the ranks from pro scout to pro scouting coordinator, director of football research, assistant director of player personnel, senior director of pro college scouting, and now VP of player personnel. So he is like won a lot. A former coach of the year. He was at part of the Arena Football League. He's a 3-time champion over there. So long story short, like, he has a wonderful resume. The Washington Commanders didn't hire him. I'd hire him yesterday for the Jets GM job. 100%. But it also depends on characteristics. What was Washington looking for? And what about the people? Because we also say that too, right? Like, they didn't hire Ben Johnson. Does that mean Ben Johnson sucks? Well, the other context then is Ben Johnson apparently pulled out of the job race. So he didn't get the job. So there's a lot of things that we do or don't know. I wouldn't read too much into that from a negative perspective. Like, oh, man, if they're not good enough for Washington, they're not good enough for us. I don't view it that way at all. But it's an interesting question to ponder. Let me see, make sure I answer all your questions here. So, okay, 33rd team, name, origin, story. Alan is with me. All I keep reading is that Slowick is a no. Yeah, I'm not on the Slowick train. Absolutely not. Tony Alexio says, let's enjoy our misery. It's taking that time with this coaching staff. Well, for all of those noise, we'll see if the Jets rise. They got the Seattle Seahawks this week. Oh, easy. Got to see Floyd Little play. God bless you, pal. I wish I would have. Alan says, keep the yells coming. Let Kenneth Walker run crazy through our Swiss cheese or rush defense. Yeah, that's going to be an issue. Although the Seahawks love passing the ball. Geno Smith was among the league leaders in passing attempts. Ooh, Allen. Q's plus 11 on Saturday. They host the Miami Hurricanes, top 10 team in the country, and they control. If Miami wins, they can punch their ticket to the ACC championship game. Syracuse wins. Miami's path to the college football playoff just got a lot more murky, for sure. Let me see. Any other comments here? Yes, Hep. Good morning, Coffee Club. Mahar Khalil. Welcome to the show, baby. Jets for life. Welcome. All right. Beautiful. Good question here, Mahar Khalil. How many teams are looking for a coach or general manager or both? So right now, the only jobs that are open are the Saints job, and it's not GM opening. Mickey Loomis is there, and the expectation is he will remain. So a general manager position won't be open with New Orleans. They do have a head coach opening, obviously, with Dennis Allen being fired. Jets are obviously looking for both, and the Jaguars could be looking for both. I imagine there's going to be some blood in the streets at Jacksonville. And at minimum, they're taking out Doug Peterson, but they could definitely take out Trent Baalke, so they could be looking for both. That's possible, but that's not official first. Dakota, Cowboys suck. They are better than us. Well, hey, we can judge that on what you'd like. Let's go to Brandon A. Chicago is a more attractive job than the Jets. Ben Johnson might go there. Is it more attractive? Maybe. It depends how you feel about Caleb Williams, I guess. If you love Caleb Williams, then sure, you love the job. But, look at that division. Detroit's a monster. Minnesota's a monster right now. And Green Bay's a monster. In the AFC East, the Bills are a monster. Okay. The Dolphins, it depends on Tua's health, which obviously is volatile. New England stinks, but they might have a quarterback. And then you have the Jets. So, a lot of things factor in. Not sure I would just say, point blank, Chicago is more attractive, but also beauty is in the eye of the beholder. What one coach says, I don't think so. Another coach goes, ooh, so. Let's go to Ace of Spade. It seems like they prefer pick the GM first, then the coach. I get that vibe. That's a proper vibe. Again, I think in very rare circumstances, you go head coach first. If you got like a power player, let's Pete Carroll got more power than the GM over John Schneider. Trying to think of another guy. Belichick obviously had that power, like a John Gruden, like some of those big, massive names. To Harbaugh, probably. I don't know what his official title of power is, but he probably had to get power to come. So certain guys like that might get that sort of thing. But in this particular case, how Rick Spielman, listening to that 16-minute podcast that they posted, it sure sounds like that it's easier to hire a general manager because as soon as the season's over, Rick Spielman indicated that you could like interview anybody you want at GM. For coaches that are still employed in the NFL and the playoffs and things of that nature, it's just more strict. Okay, starting on this date, you could start Zoom interviewing. Starting on this date, you could start, in-person interviews. So the process just dragged out, so it takes forever. So if you want to hire the coach first, you have to wait forever, hire the coach, but you might lose some of the great GM candidates. So, yeah, I agree with you, Ace of Spade. My vibe is your vibe. I believe they prefer to pick the GM first, but Rick Spielman did not make that official. When asked that basically direct question, he said it's too early in the process to make that determination. And great point here by MFC. Gase works for 3013, but so does Belichick and Matt Patricia. So like a bunch of analysts sort of things have those roles. Alan says, all I keep reading is BJ would love to coach Caleb. Reading from what? Who is writing these articles? That did Ben Judges come out and say, yeah, I want to coach Caleb? Maybe. I don't know. We'll see what happens. By the way, we've got 400 people in the room. Make sure you guys like the video, hit subscribe, baby. Spread the good gospel that is Boy Green Daily. Daily New York Jets video shows live every single day at 7:30 in the morning. Why don't we do this? We'll play a quick cap song, and we're opening up the phone lines. Get your thoughts on Rick Spielman and this head coach GM search and so much more. We got Jets Seahawks. Okay, Aaron Rodgers QB1. Oh, righty. What kind of Jets team are we getting out of the bye? Historically speaking, a not good one, but hey, maybe they can flip it. Let's play this quick cap song. We'll be right back. Sing along with us.
Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. Talking just football, man. Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. The New York Jets Football Club. Wow. Offense, defense, special teams. Watch the Super Bowl season with Boy Green. J-E-T-S. Jets. Boy Green.
You gotta love that, baby. One of the best songwriters in our history. Let's go to the phone lines. We got Easy here on the show. What's up, Easy?
Good morning.
Happy holidays.
You too. Happy holidays. So did you tell your dad that he should drive up?
Oh, no, I did not. Yeah, you got to deliver that message. He'll be on the show tomorrow, so just tell him day of. Like, as soon as Boy Green Day is over, boom.
Yeah, pack up the car and just drive on up.
There you go.
Don't forget to bring a box of diapers while you're at it.
Yeah, hey, we could use those. Amen. Send them down.
That's right.
Yes.
Everything helps. So we got the battle of the ex-Jet coaches here.
Yeah.
Mangenius and Sexy Rexy.
What I will be honest, did not have that on the bingo card of Mangenius.
Doesn't get any better than this.
Yeah, wow,
that's better than this, man.
That was different.
This is just so fucking awesome.
Because Rex Ryan replaced Mangenius, and for Rex Ryan to campaign for the job and for Mangenius to somehow potentially get it, I mean, that would be wild. That'd be crazy.
Here's what I'd love, and tell me this is not insane, okay? Everyone, when Rex had those 2 years of really good success going to the championship game, everybody said, "Oh, it was Mangini's team." Well,
yes,
how about
a lot of people have said that. Yeah.
How about this? Mangini, GM, Rex Ryan, freaking coach.
Wow, that would be crazy.
I mean, I have no idea if Mangini's qualified at that. You know, we all know Rex can coach. That was never the question. Rex is a good head coach. But Rex is not one of the guys like Bill Parcells who wants to buy the groceries. You don't want Rex buying the groceries. He might get an apple with a worm in it every now and then.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you might want to have a separation of church and state there. That wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Yeah.
Well, I really think that if Woody wants to really make this work, he needs to get a director of operations.
Which they're considering, apparently. That's what the 33rd team said. Part of their meeting was the structure. So, what do you want in a GM? What do you want in a coach? And then what does the structure look like? Are we having a director of football ops? Is the GM running the ship or GM head coach on the same plane? Like, how does it all work? So, it sounds like they are considering it. Yeah.
I would say a director of football operations would be sort of on the same plane as the general manager.
Okay.
But like he would have like veto power over the GM. Like you let the GM do whatever he wants, but if there's something that really gets in his craw, then he would say, hey, talk to the GM and say, well, maybe we should work something out with this. And also the head coach has to have at least some input into the player decisions.
Of course.
But he doesn't make the final decision.
Right.
But
I like that.
It should be at least a 2 out of 3 consensus between the director of operations, the GM, and the coach.
Yeah, there'll be a balance of power. I like that. Yeah,
but I mean, a 3-way and majority of the 2 out of 3 would rule on the player, because this way it's not, you can't just blame one guy. I think a little division this way, everybody's happy, because this way the head coach will win a couple of battles and he'd lose a couple of battles. So you can't be too sour. And everybody would win or lose a couple of things. And then, of course, when there's the consensus, that's even better.
Yeah, of course. So, yeah, I don't mind that at all.
It's like with us fans out here, Woody does at least see what we talk about.
Yeah. That much seems clear. Yeah, right.
And that's good and bad. I mean, it's good because he gets a feel for what we think and how we're feeling, and it gives him at least an idea on taking the temperature of where the fans are, because we are the ones now. I mean, he gets primarily most of his money from TV and the profit sharing of the NFL and all that.
Correct.
But he does get to keep all of the ticket sales and all of the concessions, I would think.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Do they get to keep their personal concessions from what they do?
I would assume so.
On game? And of course, the uniforms, they get a cut of the uniforms, they get a cut of the hats, all the paraphernalia, all that stuff. And if the fans are not happy, we don't buy shit. Like I bought this hat when I went to the Halloween game where they called back that interception and just before the end of the first half with the Patriots.
Oh, Michael Carter II. Oh, I see.
Yeah. That's when I bought this hat. I was wearing my black jersey for the game. I was wearing my black pants. I was wearing my black and green shoes, and I bought this hat. And I was sitting there in section 103, man. And he caught that pass, and he was running right at me. And I had this smile from ear to ear on my face.
Yeah, I imagine the place was electric. And that really, if you look at that moment in time, that really changed the trajectory of the Jets, because they would have been up like 17-6 or something, which would have killed the Patriots because they couldn't score crap offensively. That would have been the death nail, and then it gets reversed and everything changes.
And then they scored before the end of the half, too, to make it close. Right. Didn't they score a touchdown right before the end of the half or something?
They did, yeah.
Oh, God. It was
brutal.
I think that's the game that killed Zach Wilson.
I think you're right.
I think that was it. But anyway, what do you have for Thanksgiving? Are you doing the fry or the roast?
That is a great question. We have no idea. Like I said, in our first hosting duties, we're going to be picking up items at some point today for whatever the hell we're doing for tomorrow. So it'll be an audible at the line of scrimmage. Sure.
You're up in southern Canada there, so...
Yeah, that's right.
So if you fry a turkey... Okay, this is how you got to do it. You got to get the setup outside the house.
I've heard about that, yeah.
Yes. Trust me, you need it outside the house. Now, the reason a lot of people don't fry a turkey is that big vat of oil, can be $20 to $40, depending upon what you get. Yeah, Wow. That's why it's expensive. That's why it's expensive to fry a turkey. But let me tell you, like I was telling you the other day, if you soaked it in brine, like if you buy a turkey today and you brine it, what you do is the vat that you're gonna, the big pot that you're going to fry it in,
sure,
use that for the brine. Put the turkey in there, I guess sometime this afternoon do it, and then tomorrow you take it out, clean out the vat, you pour the oil in it, you heat up the oil, and then you put like this little, like T-cross and drop the
Yeah.
turkey in.
Uh-huh.
About 45 minutes to an hour, depending upon the size of the turkey. It cooks
Sure.
really quick.
Wow.
It cooks the whole thing inside and outside because the oil gets in the cavity and from the outside. So it cooks it quick, and it like basically, sears it, locks it so that the juices can't get out. It's so
Wow.
good. Maybe if you don't do it this year because of the cost, you just try
Sure.
one time before you do it.
That sounds great.
But,
Sounds
But I'm
delicious.
telling you, it's good. And then you got to have some kind of yams with crispy bacon.
Ooh, I've never had that before. Okay.
Yeah,
put that in
yams
the
with
list.
the marshmallows on it, and
Yeah.
and you take some bacon, you crisp it up good, crumble it up over it, and mix it all in. That's good.
By the way, Fastest Food Reviews, aka Chef Gilbert, says you know what you're doing with all your cooking tips and tricks. So he is a fan.
Well, I was gonna be a chef at one point when I was younger, and then I decided I didn't want to be working while everybody else was partying.
That's a good point. That's a loophole there, I guess. Yeah, that makes sense.
But it was a lifestyle choice because I love cooking. To this day, I love cooking, and I don't even have much of a kitchen. I mean, if I show you my kitchen,
Yeah, sure.
see, that's
MTV
my
cribs it.
dryer,
Yeah.
my dryer, and my hot
Wait,
plate.
that's your dryer? Oh, okay. Tight quarters. All right.
I don't have a stove in here. My this is a duplex, and my buddy on the other side, he's got a stove with an oven.
Okay.
Because the washer's in there, and that's the dryer, and we both share the washer and dryer. But if I really want a pizza that bad, I just go over and use his oven.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool. That's nice.
I haven't eaten pizza in 3 years. No, I'm just
Yeah, that's funny. I love that. Well,
But,
easy. I appreciate the frying turkey insights. We'll
So
see.
good, man.
We'll see
So good.
what's available at the store, I guess, here in a couple hours, and it'll make our decision on what the hell we're eating tomorrow. But
The other
it
thing
sounds
is,
delicious.
some people don't like turkey. Like you said, you think it's one of the blander birds. Get a
Who's
Purdue ovens. You would. Who was it that was saying it was one of the?
I think
it
someone
might have been
called
on
in to say that. I like turkey,
Yeah.
so
It might have been on Jake Asman or something. But
Yeah.
if you get one of the best Thanksgivings we ever had is we just had like a small gathering. So instead of getting a turkey, my mom got a really big Purdue oven stuffer roaster.
Mm.
That was good because chicken
Okay.
does have more flavor, but that was good. So that's always an alternative for a smaller kind of thing. But then again, you're losing all the leftovers.
Well, yeah, that could be an issue. I'm a big. I like the turkey leftovers. That's that's a good thing. But I love
My
that.
favorite.
See,
Before I
yeah.
go, my favorite
Sure.
leftover thing. It's
Yeah.
the same thing that Ross used to like on Friends. You get the turkey on the sandwich with cranberry sauce and a little bit of the stuffing.
All right.
A total turkey, a total Thanksgiving sandwich. So good, man. Gotta have the cranberry sauce and the stuffing on it to make it real.
Wow, that sounds absolutely disgusting. Now, I will tell you, my fiance, she does the turkey sandwiches where you just put all the leftovers, pile it in a sandwich form. She loves that. To me, that's disgusting. Absolutely not. For me, my turkey sandwich is quite basic. It's toasted bread. It's some white meat turkey, some salt and pepper, perhaps, and then some spicy mustard. Boom. That's my turkey sandwich. I will eat that till the day I'm dead. If we got turkey leftovers, I'll be doing that, baby. Again, toasted bread, turkey, some salt and pepper, some seasoning, and then spicy mustard. Boom. Eat that sandwich. There you go. That's the truth. All right, back to the phone lines. We got BG here on the show. What's up, BG?
Oh, what's going on, Paul? You're doing the turkey. Oh, how you doing it?
Yeah,
I
well,
missed
that's
the
a good point. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm just getting a lot of advice because, like I said, this is the first Thanksgiving. I'm not just traveling to go see family. It's just me and my family that live here. So me, my fiance, and my 2 children. So we have no idea what the hell we're doing. We're going to figure that out after the show here. We're going to head on over to the grocery store and see what the hell they have, and that will determine what the hell we're doing.
Okay, like Ed was saying, if you are going to fry it, you got to make sure that bird's thawed out, or else you're going to light everything on fire.
Okay, this will be the last Boy Green Daily, I guess. God bless everybody. See you. So, okay, I will take that advice if I do that. Okay.
And that sandwich you're talking about, it's called the Gobbler. At least we called it the Gobbler in Bergen County.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. There you go. Do
Beef
you put on
stuffing,
your
cranberry.
gobbler here? We have fastest food reviews, aka Chef Gilbert jumping in. No cheese or gravy, BG, on your turkey. Absolutely not. I like it plain Jane. But do you put any cheese or gravy on your gobbler?
No. Nope. Like you, I'm kind of simple. Salt, pepper. I like my mayonnaise on it.
Oh, well, all right. Well, at least you're the salt and
I
pepper.
put cranberry sauce on it, but normal people do.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. I can appreciate that. Okay. The gobbler.
What's your favorite appetizer?
Say that one more time.
What's your favorite appetizer for Thanksgiving?
Favorite appetizer? I don't know if I'm going to answer this correctly. Are you talking like a side dish or like some meal before Thanksgiving, like something to eat in the morning?
A little snack before the meal.
Oh, well, something we do beforehand is, this isn't like a crazy thing. We watch the Macy's Day Parade with all the kiddos, and then some cheese and crackers and some meats. There's some like light deli meats or something that may be involved. So that's what my family's done forever. We'll see if I do that this year.
Okay, see, mine is stuffed artichokes. Those are good.
Stuffed artichokes. Whoa, I've never even heard of that. Okay.
It's very Italian, and it looks like you were raised out of the booties, my friend.
I guess so. So wait, what do you stuff the artichokes with? With what?
Stuffing.
Oh,
Grandma's
stuffing.
got a recipe.
Literal stuffing. Oh, I see. Oh, okay, that makes sense. All right.
And then you basically just suck the stuffing off of it. It's like basically doused in a butter.
Ah, okay.
Butter or oil, depending on.
Wow, stuffed artichokes. All right, BG, that is disgusting. But all right, great. Different strokes, different folks. I guess I missed my Italian heritage class. Anything else, BG, before we let you go?
You must have missed that day class.
I think so. And BG, your call broke up there. Stuffed artichokes. What the? It's disgusting. All right, let's go back to the film. I just got Hep here. What the fuck? I've never even heard of that before. What the? All right, anywho, Hep, good morning.
It might choke Artie, but it's not choking Johnny.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
Wow.
Paul, if you can't find a turkey, you like roast beef. Get yourself a nice
I love roast beef.
Yeah,
is that fine? Is that acceptable? Because I've gotten some shit. I'm going to be honest. So like I brought it up as a possibility the other day. I'm like, you know what? They're just because like I haven't had a really great, it's got to be rare, but like, it's got to be bright red. I don't want this elephant meat that every once in a while I'll go to a sub shop, they like roast beef and they put it on there. I'm like, what in God's green earth is this? This looks dead. What is
That's
this?
called pot roast.
Yeah. That's it. So yeah, we haven't bought anything yet. It'll happen after the show today, but like I've gotten a lot of shit for that.
Yeah, they'll probably get them on sale too because everyone's buying turkey now. So those roast beef.
There you go. So I could get what I really want and get it at a great deal.
Love it. You always get a little chicken on the side if people really
sure.
want that.
So they can dabble. Okay, yeah, I'm about it. Mm-hmm.
Now what I do with my turkey is I take the skin and I separate it from the actual meat part of it, and then I take butter and I shove the butter all underneath the skin like that. Right? Yeah. Then I get bacon and I drape it over the top of the of the right, and then and then just like juicy, like it's nice.
Oh baby, okay, I'm gonna have to tell this one. Okay, that is okay. I love that's the best idea I've heard today.
The roast beef is okay. Love you guys. Peace out.
Thank you, Hep. Okay, there you go. Some roast beef love. Thank the blessed Lord. Okay, so many people are like, roast beef? What are you doing, Paul? It's Thanksgiving, you jerk. I'm like, what the hell? Roast beef is delicious. Absolutely free. If you get it right. Again, I don't want that elephant ass meat. I'm getting this fucking gray ass thing on my plate. I'm like, what is this? You go to the deli, I'm like, ugh, what is this? It looks like it was sliced off an elephant. I want my shit rare. I want it bloody, I want it to tell some stories. That's what I want. Hey, by the way, real quick before we go to the phone lines, and the phone lines are popping. Ed Vargas, baby, jumping in for a 5 spot here for Boy Green Coffee Club memberships. We appreciate you. We see you. Happy holidays, brother. Thanks for chiming in. All right, the 5 new members to the Boy Green Coffee Club are Harry W., TriStar Jet, Zach Rosenberg, 2025 lacrosse goalie. Oh, congrats, Zach Rosenberg on that. D-Train 33192 and Des Jet 11. You're all now members to the Boy Green Coffee Club, baby. We appreciate you. And let me flip the banner. We're now 39 members away from our number 1 Austrian Jet fan from getting it. Thank you, everybody who's supported so far. Appreciate you. Happy holidays. God bless, baby. All right, let's go back to the phone lines here and some more turkey takes and perhaps football. Philly Noodles here on the show. What's up, Philly?
Yeah,
Good to have you back on the show, brother.
Yes, sir. So let's start off. I'm in North Carolina. You and your dad know, as I had that pass.
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
Smoked turkey. Slept on.
Smoked turkey. Well, I've never done that before. Smoked.
We don't do it in New York, right? So down here,
yeah, that's true. Yeah. Okay.
Phenomenal.
Okay. How so? Do you need like a smoker, or there's some like backwoods way to do it? Okay,
backwoods and smokers, but down here you stop at every corner. Someone's already smoked it for you. So.
Oh wow, okay,
so
that helps.
Pick it up by the pound.
Wow.
All right, so if I can grab your attention for a few minutes here, I want to go over that Spielman interview.
Yeah,
so
please.
He dropped some really good hints. He let us know a few things off the bat. He said, I wasn't part of the accelerator program last year, if anyone heard him say that.
Yeah, for the folks who don't know what that means, the accelerator program is basically to give minorities and females and everything, people that are people that don't normally get the opportunities to get a ton of opportunities and introduce. It's like a networking event of like, whoa, I've never even heard of this guy before, or this gal, or this person, or this person, and then it's resume. It's like a job fair. It's like everything, and it's a lot of information gathering. So for people who don't know what that means, that's the accelerator program. And for him, Rick Spielman to be there and then to be like part of a search firm for it, that's going to juice up a lot of those people that wouldn't have gotten those ops. So good point there.
Yeah, so I have the list in front of me of who attended last year.
Phenomenal. Great.
I'm not going to go over everybody. It's a lot.
Yeah, right.
But
yeah.
We'll do the tops.
Sure.
Mike Caldwell. I don't want to see it. A little old for me.
Yeah.
Brian Flores. I feel like he's going to get an interview within the next 5 weeks.
For the Jets you're talking about?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
In the next, I think it's going to happen. So I think Brian's going to be a contender there.
Okay.
We look at what's his name, Mike Kafka.
Okay. Oh, the Giants guy, Giants OC. Giants. Yep. Okay.
Mm-hmm. I do see Ron Middleton's on the list.
Hey, all right, there you go, Ron.
They're looking in the building. I mean, people love him. Supposedly, he has, in the mind he has. You know, he's that guy telling them in the locker room, hit hard. You don't even care what position.
Yeah,
his position.
I love that line. Come on, everyone wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. They're like, damn, that's good.
I'm saying, you know, so he's an option. Then there was the woman that he mentioned. A woman. I don't know if her name's on here, but there was a woman.
Donna Ponte. She's a GM candidate that has a long history with the Jets. So Donna Ponte. Yep.
So. Anyone else on the list, I don't particularly completely jump out on me, but then I also saw the list for the GMs he interviewed and the head coaches. So now if we jump to that side real quick.
Sure, please.
First person who pops off, Borgonzi.
Chief's assistant GM.
Yes, we would love it. He said these guys were highly considered. They went with Peters because they did, but highly considered. Glenn Cook, GM from the Browns.
Yep.
Like it, love it. If you bring Stefanski, love it.
Sure, yeah.
Ian Cunningham was a finalist from the Bears.
Correct.
So that to me, now I'm thinking he's probably, pushed up the echelon a little bit.
Probably,
this firm. Alec Hullaby.
GM. Yeah, he's a young kid, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Will McClay. That's a VP,
my boy from the Cowboys. Yes.
From the Cowboys. So if they want to go the personal route, and that's what he was explaining, maybe someone more personable. It depends on what they're looking for. It's kind of what the Jets do. They run a head coach to just be the head coach, and then if you get a V. So he said, if you remember during that interview, he's still saying they're undecided. Maybe they do want to grab a GM who does select himself a VP of this and this and that.
Sure.
I think it should happen, right? I mean, to me, it makes more sense. Then the finalists for head coaches interviewed last year, there was a crop last year. Quinn, hired. Morris, gone.
Mike McDonald hired.
So then it's left with Anthony Weaver, which, pedigree there coming from the Ravens is good. Sure. Bobby Slowick and Ben Johnson. I don't see Ben doing it with Rodgers. I mean, it could happen. I had an argument with a Jet fan yesterday about Jared Goff being better than Aaron. He said that's no. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I'd take Ben Johnson.
Like right now you're talking about?
Yeah.
Well, come on. I mean, right now it's clearly Jared Goff,
Like he's healthy. He's not 41. Yeah, sure, I would.
Yeah.
So if he was able to work with him, could he work with him? No, I don't see that happening. It could, but I just don't. As a GM, who wants to walk into that purse that you got to pay some 42-year-old quarterback? This isn't Tom Brady, and it's not.
And he's Aaron Rodgers, and I mean that from the standpoint he has gravitas. He's just not some random name on the roster. There's a lot of shit that goes along with having Aaron Rodgers, so that could complicate things.
Yeah.
Sure.
And the blindness of people thinking he wanted who he wanted, so he could control what he needed to control. It happened. It is what it is. You move on, right? You have crazy girlfriends in the runs.
Sure.
And then you settle down with the right person. That's not the settle down person. You knew he was a gun for hire for 2 years. We knew it.
Yeah.
Win the Super Bowl. It would be great. Okay.
Yeah.
We've been saying that for 60 years, 50 years.
Yeah.
So everybody calm down. But I'm interested in Slowick possibly jumping off if he can get them to a second round of the playoffs. If he could say, here, Stroud, I painted this way. You should be okay. And everyone being like, oh, all right, we'll figure it out. If they're having the problems they're having now, I don't see Slowick leaving, because if he leaves, then he's saying, well, I kind of conditioned Stroud to be okay, but I didn't develop him all the way. And then that makes that look bad on him as well. So, those are my takes. I just ran this list real quick. I thought it was a good idea. So, thank you for letting me share.
Yes, well, thanks for calling in, man. Appreciate you. Yeah. Thank you. Happy holidays, Philly Noodles. And that's great with the Accelerator program to hear some of the names in there. And again, when you combine a lot of this action all together, man, when we start, because we're all playing detective here, okay? We're seeing who. So Rick Spielman says, hey, a lot of the people we interviewed last year is going to be in the running this time. Okay, who is the GM list? Whoop. Who is head coach list? Whoop. Oh, Rick Spielman says, I also was part of the Accelerator program. Wow. The list is public of everyone who's at the Accelerator program. See all these candidates, bang, and then these characteristics. So we're all just kind of placing and putting the pieces together. So yeah, here we go. I see Jared B is bringing up Donna Ponte, who we talked about. It would be historic. The running that she would be in is for general manager. She would be the first female general manager in NFL history. Wow, that would certainly be historic. And she obviously has Jet ties, being with the organization. And that one would be interesting. I'd be curious to see if the Jets would be willing to make that kind of history. Again, someone has to eventually be first, obviously. I'd be curious to see if the Jets choose to go in that historic direction for Donna Ponte. I'm not sure. I get the sense they would, but who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Nick Russo. Will McClay has been on my taste since last year, but Jones always keeps him somehow. Yeah. Again, I've had interest in Will McClay for a long time. I don't think enough people know who he is because, again, when you think of Dallas Cowboys land, you think of Jerry Jones, you think of Stephen Jones. There's all the craziness you think about before Will McClay. He is the secret sauce to the Dallas Cowboys. Folks, if you don't know anything about Will McClay, look him up. He should be one of the top candidates for the Jets GM job. We talked about Brian Gay yesterday, who's super interesting. He's, to me, someone who's super intriguing. John Dorsey, Jared B has been pounding that table for the John Dorsey, Ben Johnson combo. That's really interesting. Will McClay would be very high on my list. I don't know who his head coaching candidate list would be. He has a long history, so I'd have to look back and try to see, because he knows a lot of people in the league, so that one would be interesting. But yeah, Jerry Jones has found a way to keep him for a long time. But I think eventually, I don't know Will McClay personally, obviously, but I feel like eventually Will McClay wants to put his own stamp on, not just be the behind-the-scenes guy of being the lead guy in the project where he's the general manager running the operation. I'd be fascinated to see if Will is intrigued with getting his own chance and what that would look like. As Easy said, hit the like button, baby. We'd love it. Alan says, Phil and I are in agreement with saying bye-bye to 8. Now, I go back and forth on this because you hear Aaron Rodgers. I heard him on the Pat McAfee show yesterday. A lot of interesting sound bites. That could have certainly been the lead on today's show instead of Spielman. But when I hear him talk and say, like, the wonderful things about the Jets and playing for him, like when I see Aaron Rodgers talk, I'm like, oh my God, Aaron Rodgers, like 20-something-year-old Aaron Rodgers is in my head of like one of the greatest quarterbacks I've ever seen. The fact of the matter is that decision will ultimately be on the new regime coming in, or Aaron Rodgers, how he finishes out the season. If Aaron Rodgers plays really well in the final 6 games, he may change his own destiny, because then the new regime coming in and saying, whoa, that Rodgers guy still has it. If Rodgers stinks or gets hurt or anything, then they're like, okay, well, we know we got to move on from him. So I think there's a lot to be said with what Rodgers does. He says he's feeling incredibly healthy. He's coming off the bye. Let's see. The proof is in the pudding. I think enough people are done with words. Words. Let's see. Is the proof in the pudding? I think that's what a lot of people are going to say on Aaron Rodgers, which, again, I'm rooting for. I don't want for the tanking crowd that are out there. Again, fans can fan however they want. For me, I'm not going to be like, oh, man. Like when Garrett Wilson drops a pass, I'm going to be like, yes, way to go, Garrett. All for the tank. Like, I'm not going to be saying that. I want Garrett and these young players, all to do, veteran players, all of them. I want them to do great. If Aaron Rodgers throwing 4 or 5 touchdown passes on Sunday, friggin' awesome. We haven't had a lot to cheer about this year. Hell yes. Let's go, Aaron. Throw touchdown passes. I'll be rooting for success and wins and everything else, and then we'll deal with the result when the result's over. Again, that's how I fan, but you guys can fan however you want. Alan says Jared Goff is a top 7 quarterback right now. He's playing awesome. Again, outside of that 5-pick horrendous game against Houston, they won that game somehow. It's terrific. Great. EZ, what vet quarterbacks are available? Don't want to pick a quarterback this year until the 3rd round. Not great. I mean, I'll pull up the list here. Free agents 2025. I know that the top guys on the list are Sam Darnold and Russell Wilson. But again, if Russell Wilson continues to play well for the Steelers, I imagine they'd want to keep him. So I imagine he wouldn't be going anywhere. And then you go to Sam Darnold. I don't think he's staying in Minnesota because Sam, I would imagine at 27 years of age, he wants a long-term deal. That would be my gut. Like, why wouldn't he want a long-term deal? And I don't know if Minnesota would give it to him because they have J.J. McCarthy, and that would complicate things in a lot of ways to all of a sudden where he wasn't going to get the long-term deal. Why would he just sign for a 1-year deal? So, anywho, I don't know if he would be willing to do that. Let me see. Spot Track sometimes can be a tricky app, so let me get it on the phone for NFL free agent, see what other quarterbacks are out there. But there's a lot of mid. I'm just going to be honest. Unless, it depends on the coach. Depends on the coach coming in. Maybe they've got a relationship with one of the guys, and then they can make this big leap. Like, obviously, you saw what Baker Mayfield did on the 1-year deal and things of that nature. Okay, so here we go. Not running backs, Let's go quarterback. Let's unrestricted free agent 2025. Okay. Here we go. So here's the list of guys. Okay, let's go back there. Okay, on Spot Track. Okay, all right. So, yeah, Spot Track on the laptop not coming up. So we'll just read you the list from the phone here. We got Sam Darnold, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance. So a lot of the first-round quarterback busts. Jacoby Brissett, Taylor Heineke, Marcus Mariota, Jarrett Stidham, Andy Dalton, Drew Lock, Justin Fields, Joe Flacco, Jameis Winston, that'd be fun. Mac Jones, Carson Wentz, Jimmy Garoppolo, Case Keenum, Mason Rudolph, Easton Stick, Cooper Rush, Joshua Dobbs. Again, you get the point. It's not incredibly attractive. But we'll see. They also have Tyrod Taylor, who's on the roster. He's better than a lot of those guys. All right, I think we have a caller here. I don't see him on camera, but let me give him a MJ.
Yes. Good morning.
Hey,
how are you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah, I'm calling from Big D, by the way.
Nice.
Okay. Will McClay, Jones just throws money at him big time, and he really, he's got a family here, he's got roots, so it's going to be really tough for him to leave, especially the situation in New York. Although, it could happen. He might want to. Like you said, be the big banana and, not be kind of behind the scenes. But when I think of the Jets, man, when I think of their season, I think of Salah. and how the defense has completely changed without his presence. Now, my understanding, I thought I heard that he actually called the defense over the other, the now head coach. Is that true? Was he calling the defense when he was the head coach?
No. When Robert Sala was hired, most of us assumed, to be honest, that Sala was going to call it because that was his calling card. Why wouldn't he call it? That's what he was hired for to begin with. But Sala announced, I don't know if it was press conference number 1, it might have been press conference number 2 upon him getting hired, that he said, no, I'm going to hire somebody and that person will do it. And ultimately, that was Ulbrich. So Ulbrich called the defense the entire time. But I'm sure Sala was involved in game planning and informal things of that nature. But yeah, Ulbrich called the defense the entire time.
Ulbrich called it because somebody said that Sala called it, or he had a really large presence of the defense, and you could just tell. I don't know if it's if it's a situation of Ulbrich not doing the defense 24/7 versus just the lack of having Sala in the organization, and I think it might be the latter actually. Because I think
part of it, his butter was spread thin. I mean, Jeff Ulbrich all of a sudden took on head coaching responsibilities and was the defensive coordinator. His heart was in the right place. Ulbrich said he was hired, and then 2 hours later they slapped him on the ass, said go speak with the media. So he was kind of like, you could tell that a lot of business was happening upstairs, and he was asked, are you going to call plays like everything's on the table? I just found out I'm the head coach, so let me figure it out. And then ultimately he said, continuity, I want to keep it. So again, heart in the right place with all the changes that he'd want continuity, but it seemed clear he just had too much responsibility.
And I think, though, when you look back, it's that the problem with the Jets wasn't the defense. The problem was the offense. And when they changed and demoted, Rodgers guy, they looked a lot better. But the problem was the defense let him down. So if Sala was still there, like I think people say, they would have had 3, 4, 5 more wins, and this wouldn't have been a lost season. This would have been completely. Everything would have changed. I think Sala would still be there, and who knows? Maybe he gets better. Maybe the defense gets better. And it's just ironic that doing that it was really bad timing. People are saying Sala is a bad coach. I know Jake Asman still agrees with that, and you can't do that looking back because the defense has completely plummeted, and the defense is the reason they've lost these games. I mean, I'm not saying the offense isn't responsible. I mean, but if you look at these losses, the defense could not make a freaking stop against some of these really mediocre teams.
I wish Sala would have went to Todd Downing sooner, because that's one of the ultimate, blood on his hands, as he waited until apparently he was going to do it after week 5, which they lost in London. And oh boy, I was going to do it. And then he got fired. Like shit, he should have had a quicker pull. I don't know all the politics behind the scenes that would have been involved, because obviously Hackett is Rodgers' guy, and maybe that prevented him from doing it sooner. But like since Downing took over, I saw it just from a Breece Hall perspective because I did a story about it earlier this week. Since Todd Downing took over, Breece Hall's rushing numbers have been great. He's had 5 yards per carry since the moment that Todd Downing took over, and his rushing numbers have been awesome. The only difference is the Steelers game, he had a bad rushing day, but he had over 100 yards receiving. But every other game, he was awesome running the football. And then obviously we've seen creativity and all kinds of other things in this offense. Now, the offense hasn't been completely dynamic, but it's been better than what it was with Hackett. I just wish Sala would have made that change, and then we'd get that NFL of everything that you're saying here, MJ, is that we would have seen Sala and this Jets defense do what they're supposed to do, and then the offensive difference, and God knows what happens with the season. To your point, I think the season has a very different tone than what we're speaking with right now, that's for sure.
And Rodgers, and you have to wonder what Rodgers, what input he had on that with Sala leaving, because I still can't. By reading the tea leaves, it looks like he had something to do with it. Although I don't think anything's been put out specifically, but it just, because then you look at, Johnson, Woody Johnson, if he just did it out of, from losing them. But see, look back, Minnesota's a really good team. Look at their record. And they they played Minnesota straight up, and their defense, I mean, they played great. They made Minnesota look mediocre, on offense. And so you have to look at that. And even though they lost, they were getting better. But then when he is gone, everything changed. And you just have to wonder, Do you think Rodgers had some doing about him being fired?
It's hard to so everyone has publicly said something different of Rodgers had nothing to do with it.
Right.
And all these other things, excuse me, but like with Rodgers's gravitas, with what goes on with Rodgers, we had the weird pushing thing, which I was there at the stadium when we had the weird Salah Rodgers pushing thing, and I didn't think anything of it. I'm like, let's just win games. I brushed it off.
Yeah.
But like now that the firing happens, how do you not go, what happened there? So yeah, maybe he had something. I don't know if he outright said, Woody, like put a hit on him, like Salah, he's out of here. But like, did he have some influence? It's hard to look away from that.
And it's just ironic that, because Rodgers, obviously he looks injured. He doesn't look healthy. I don't know. I mean, you have to think of it, because he had a really bad, he suffered a really bad thing in the Minnesota game that people don't remember. He was bent backwards, and I don't know if it's stemming from that or from some other games, but he just doesn't look the same. Also, I mean, he's coming back, from ACL, and they always say it's the second year, not the first year back. Right. So if you're going to dump Rodgers, man, it would be just the Jets thing to dump him and then watch him have an MVP year for
Which
Minnesota.
Which is what Brett Favre did, right? Remember the torn
plays.
bicep? And everyone said, he's done. 22 touchdowns, 22 picks. He sucks.
Yes.
And he went to Minnesota and had the best year of his career. 33 touchdowns, 7 picks. It's written into my mind. They go to the NFC Championship game, and I just felt like a scorned lover. I'm like, whoa. That was the life I was supposed to have. We were supposed to go to a conference championship game. We were supposed to be one throw away from the Super Bowl. Whoa, what's going on? It's some weird, bizarro, freaky Friday body switch where I'm like, whoa, what? That's what we were supposed to have. So yeah, it's I still got to talk to a therapist about all those feelings. Yeah.
I mean, I'm telling you something. Rodgers is not washed. That guy he has an arm. You look at his body, he looks in good shape. He's not fat, he hasn't really, I mean, he takes care of himself, and he's got that incredible golden arm and incredible precision. And so you just got to really, I think you got to take him another year, and then next year, if it's the same, then okay, maybe it's his age or whatever. But he's too much of a talent to really let go, I think.
Yeah. Well, MJ, I love the call, man. I hope you call in more. Very insightful, and have a happy holidays, man.
Thanks. You do the same, man. Take care, buddy.
All right, there he is, MJ. Wow, great call. And part of the reason why for MJ's thing of like, hey, maybe we should stick with Rodgers. Let's go to YouTube member super shout out. Wow. From our guy EZ, member for 4 months. We appreciate you, EZ. What vet quarterbacks are available in 2025? He doesn't want a first-round pick on a quarterback. I think it goes back to what MJ just said about comparing Aaron Rodgers to the other available options, which, again, are Russell Wilson, but he's probably staying the way he's played. Sam Darnold. Are you Jet fans willing to give Sam Darnold a long-term deal, 3 or 4 years for like $100 million? And is Sam Darnold willing to come to the Jets? So that's a combo thing, which I'm going to be honest, I don't know if Jet fans want him, and I don't know if he'd want the Jets. So eliminate him, and then all the other options suck. So then you turn around and go, so Tyrod Taylor or Aaron Rodgers, which goes to the point that maybe Aaron Rodgers is the best option that you have available, which isn't incredibly encouraging based on some of the things we've seen, but maybe he could still turn it around. That, of course, is totally up in the air, and we'd have no idea the faith we should potentially have in that. All right, let me catch back up here, and then we'll get back to the phone lines here in a second. Just want to make sure we didn't miss any more super chats or members. Okay. All right, beautiful. And by the way, real quick from Rob V, can you imagine Quinnen and Graham together? Mason Graham. I would tell you this. If you don't want to force the quarterback pick, which I am for not forcing it. Again, if you're with a regime, and let's say the Jets end up with the 3rd overall pick, and they're like, we love Shadur Sanders, and somehow he's available, and then they take him, great. But if there's no one they love, why not get the best player available, as Rob V has suggested here, and you get Quinnen Williams and Mason Graham on the defensive line, and let's friggin' go. That, to me, would be pretty spicy. Now, let's bring back a guy that you guys all know and love. He's been, MIA. We have not seen this guy a lot recently, but he has come out of the darkness. BMAC is back here on the program. Happy holidays, BMAC. It's good to see you, pal.
Hey, Paul Boy Greens, good to be back. It's good to I've been busy lately and stuff, and getting ready for the holidays. So
of course,
plus I've been sick. So
oh, you are. Oh, I hope you feel better, man.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Man. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
But before I get started, because I got a lot to say about Rogers.
Oh, okay, sure.
Started, you see I'm watching Cobra Kai.
Oh, I haven't seen that show yet. Should I watch that?
Yo, Paul, it's really, really good, man. It's really good.
Oh, okay. I was a big Karate Kid fan growing up with Ralph Macchio and everybody, but I haven't seen any of the series at all. So, okay.
Yeah. Really, really good. It's a great series. A lot of people don't like it. I'm shocked. You know what I mean?
There is? They don't like it? Why?
I mean, most people said it's not good. I mean, most people on this, on the internet and on the chat say it's not good. But I think it's great. I don't know.
Okay, all right. I'll put it on the list. Let me see. Cobra Kai. They got like a bunch of seasons too, right? So okay.
Cobra season Kai. 6, part 2 just came out. So and
then
season
6 seasons. Yeah. Good Lord. Okay, that's an investment, but I like it.
And then season. And then part 3 is gonna come out in February. So
okay.
Yeah. So
nice. All right, it's on my list. I just wrote it down. Great. Yeah. Okay.
Now let's get to the let's get down to business.
Sure, of course.
Yeah.
All right.
Now with the Rogers thing, look, Rogers, has not played well this year. All right.
Correct.
And I said, I think after the Colts game, I said that maybe it was a good idea to move on, start fresh.
Yeah.
But look, I'm gonna be realistic here, and we have to be fair, and we have to call spade a spade, right?
Okay.
We look at the numbers, right? He's on, right now he's got 2,442 passing yards.
That sounds right.
Touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 88 quarterback rating, which is not great, but that's but let's be honest, that's average level. You know what I mean?
I think so. I don't really know because there's different quarterback ratings, but sure. Okay.
Yeah, quarterback rating. Again, you know what I mean? But not great, but not terrible at the same time. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah. All right.
But and then he's completing 63% of his passes, right? I really think that after that Patriots game, because we saw him in that Patriots game, man, play really well. Like that Patriots game, he looked like
the week 3, that I was there for. Sure.
The week 3, man. Like watch that game. He looked like 2016 Aaron Rodgers. We went out of the pocket, running around. In that game, he had 18 rushing yards. All right,
I remember that.
And it's just how excited all of us was after that game. You know what I mean? They were 2-1. We like, all right, I mean, now the Jets are gonna go on a run. Rodgers is back, MVP, comeback player of the year. Like all of us was talking about that after that game. In the first 2 games before that, I know he's coming off a rust. He didn't really look that bad the first 2 games. The Niners game, he didn't have the ball a lot, but when he did, he looked good in spots in that game. And then the Tennessee game, I know he looked off in the got off to a slow start in the first half, but in the second half, looked good, got the game winning drive to put us up by 7 points. And then the Patriots game, that was the full Aaron Rodgers vintage game. I think, when we went to the Denver game, the beginning of the Denver game, he looked good. And then he got banged up in that game. He got, I think, his hamstring.
And the weather was terrible. Yeah,
the weather was terrible. But I think him getting banged up and all that stuff really hindered him. And I think, and I think after that game, the Vikings game, he got banged up more. I remember he got twisted up like a pretzel, and his facial expression was like in pain when
grimacing.
when he got taken down to the ground. I think Dale Forman, he wasn't the same then. And I really do think he is hindered by injury. You know what I mean? Because you can't fall off and be washed in like in 2 weeks, like 3 weeks after whatever that Patriot game was. You can't go down the hill that quick. I really think the injuries piled up really hinder him. And I do think, and now a lot of people, with him declining scans and all that stuff, a lot of people was killing him for that. If you're hurt, don't play. If you're hurting the team. But, let's stop with the double standard. If it was any other quarterback, they would be getting a Warrior of the Year trophy for battling through it. So I commend Rodgers for sticking in there and gutting out. And I don't think it's ego. I think he did it because he really think that he can help the team win. He thinks that, look, I'm the best option, as long as I can go, I'm gonna go. And he said his 75% is better than anyone behind him. And this is
it's probably true.
And this is a guy that has played through injuries and played well through injuries. But I think he's 40 and maybe he can't do it no more. But we know Rodgers' track record when it comes to injuries, and he played through a ton of injuries and plays well and we win games playing through them. So I'm not gonna kill him that for there. And then the other thing is as far as him coming back next year, I'm not on the side of he should come back or not come back. I want to see what he looks like the last 6 games. If he's healthy and if he's doing great, as he said he is, and again, he said he did great against the Cards. I mean, he said he felt great against the Cards game, but he didn't do great against the Cards. So
Right.
I don't. So maybe maybe he just protect himself because maybe he doesn't want to say that he's not healthy because he doesn't want to make an excuse. You know what I mean? So I think he has to say that I'm feeling great, even though maybe he's not yet.
Maybe.
But I want to see what he looks like these next 6 games. And we've seen Rodgers turn it on late in the year. When they were, his last year in Green Bay, they won 4 in a row, and all they all they have to do is win a game to get into the playoffs. And then we see him and the run. Again, I know he's a different player now, but I want to see what he looks like. I want to see if he's moving around. I want to see, if he scrambling and all that stuff. So I'm gonna give him a chance these last 6 games, and we see what it looks like. And I do think we should let him finish. I think we deserve. I think he deserves, to finish these games. Like he started these games. Let him finish these games. And then the other thing is that about the offense, right? Rodgers and his offense and all that stuff. Rodgers, the offense he runs is a replicated of Mike McCarthy's offense, the West Coast offense and all that stuff.
Yes.
And McCarthy with the Cowboys, they had a ton of success recently. I know they haven't have none, a lot of playoff success, but a lot of regular season success. Dak put up great numbers, in that offense, and that offense has a lot of success. I think they're in the top 5 in scoring at once, in points. So and it seems like this is an offense that Rodgers wants to run to that offense because Rodgers grew up in the West Coast offense, and if you're used to doing something for so long, for 20 years, it's kind of hard to get out of that, you know what I mean? And,
Sure.
And to learn and start something new. Who says that, since the Cowboys offense had success with that same scheme, who says that Rodgers can still not make this offense work? What's your thoughts on that?
I would say this. So Aaron Rodgers did walk back a little bit when he did his appearance with Pat McAfee yesterday, because obviously forever he's been saying 2 healthy years with the Jets, 2 healthy years with the Jets, what I want, multiple years, all these things. And yesterday he's like, I'm not even sure if I want to play next year, and that it's up in the air. And he's sort of saying, hey, these 6 games, obviously, who the head coach and GM is, who they want, offensive staff, all these other things are going to be a part of that. So I would. Here are the options for the Jets. for the rest of the season. It's Aaron Rodgers or Tyrod Taylor. And Tyrod is 35 years old. And again, if he's the bridge next year, fine. We could have that conversation. But I know what Tyrod is. I don't really need to. And with the playoffs like out of reach, basically, I know there's a 0.7% chance. I don't want to see Tyrod. I'm fine with Aaron riding out these final 6 games. Jordan Travis isn't an option based on his medicals, apparently. So to me, Aaron Rodgers finishing out these 6 and seeing how healthy he looks. If he doesn't look healthy and he looks washed or whatever word people want to say, then all of a sudden we're like, okay, it's clear. Aaron Rodgers ain't coming back. Well, he might be coming back to football, but not here. But if he looks great, all of a sudden the conversation becomes a lot more interesting because then it's on the head coach and GM. Damn, Aaron Rodgers finished the season on a heater. He looked awesome in the final 6. They won Blee out of blue, and his statistics were this, that, or the other. Then all of a sudden it's a real conversation. So I like it again. Go ahead.
And I'm not saying that again. I gotta see it to believe it. You know what I mean about him playing great.
That's fair.
Because we've been saying that all year and he has not. You know what I mean. So I gotta like this is his hope, and I'm hoping that he plays.
Yeah,
but what evidence have you seen this year that he's going to? You know what I mean. So I don't. And again, I don't think he has to play great. This look like this look good enough. Like let's say that if the Jets, because we all know the Jets are not going to win out, but let's say if they lose a couple of games here, right? But the offense is moving. Rodgers looks good. Rodgers looks like old Rodgers, and they're scoring points, 33 points or 35 points, kind of like the Bengals. You know what I mean? Like Joe Barrow.
Oh, sure.
The offense look good, but the defense is feeling. You know, if they're losing games because of the defense and the offense looks great, and they're losing these close shootout games, you know, it sucks that they're losing games, but at least it would give us hope and confidence. It's like, wait, all right, maybe this thing could work. This offense now this offense is moving. Now, if we just fix the defense, and get better players on the defense, and if this offense performs like it has at the end of the year, putting up all these points, I mean, who says we can't run it back and give it one more shot? You know what I mean? So at least we'll see that.
Yeah, points. I think to your point, because like we've heard too often from Rodgers, like, oh man, this offense is capable of scoring blah, 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 30 points. But like little mistakes here, we didn't. Like no more bullshit excuses. Like the Jets actually doing what you're saying. Again, Cincinnati Bengaling it, where you're putting up points but losing 30 points, 35 points, 33 points, 32 points. Like if the Jets offense is cooking like that, all of a sudden you're right. It gets a lot more interesting. If they're not, it's the same bullshit where they score like 16 and they're like, boy, we had a couple more touchdowns out there, but we fucked up
again,
this, that, or the other.
We all guys see to believe it, and until they do it, no one's not going to believe that, because
that's right.
For so far in 11 games, there's no evidence that that
not consistently
do that. Yeah, Paul, that's all I want to say. And then one more thing that I know Eckworth saying that if Rodgers goes, who suggests better options, and I agree. If they don't want Rodgers back, I mean, again, he's not great, but at least he's still better than, and like what else? Like, who is your better choices? So
we'll have to see.
I don't know, but that's it, Paul. Happy thing to given.
Yeah, thanks, B-Mac. Appreciate the call. We also got this comment in real quick from Danny. If Russell Wilson stays with the Steelers, would you be interested in trading for Justin Fields? Not necessary. If the Jets were interested in Justin Fields, they could sign him. He's an outright free agent. And if they're keeping Russell Wilson, then they're not franchise tagging or doing something crazy with Justin Fields, a backup quarterback. So just want to make sure I answer this question from earlier, Danny, from 15 minutes ago or so. But yeah, if the Jets have interest in taking a dart throw at a quarterback like a Justin Fields, he is a straight up free agent, so the Jets will have their chance to sign him just like any other team. Would have their chance potentially to sign him from that perspective. So just want to make sure we put that out into the ethos. But welcome back, BMAC, the return of the BMAC. All right, let's go back to the phone lines. Got another caller here. Devin joins us here on the show. What's up, Devin? Happy holidays, man.
Happy holidays, Boy Green. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, loud and clear, brother.
Oh, sweet, brother. Hey, man, I love BMAC, but like, he put some rose-colored glasses on the Aaron Rodgers numbers. But, I respect it. It's all good. I know he's a Rodgers guy, and I have no problem with that. I got a different perspective on it though. Like I think I want to give Aaron Rodgers like 2 games, like the next 2 games, right? If he looks good, let's go, keep going on. All right, you can maybe be our bridge for next year. But then let's find out what's in the cupboard, right? Because if he doesn't look good first 2 games, then let's just throw Tyrod out there and see how he operates the offense, because we have him under contract for next year. And possibly, he could be our bridge quarterback at a much cheaper cost,
Definitely
and then look at the idea that some other folks have thrown out of, I don't really like the idea of drafting another quarterback. I really don't, because I don't think you should force the issue. I think you can still build your team, and you have a bridge guy, and then we can also see what we got in this Jordan Travis. See what he got. See what we got with him next year. And then if they both suck, guess what? We still got a good draft pick to go draft a better quarterback. That quarterback class is looking a lot better. But in the meantime, we could put some beef on our D line, which we clearly need. With some high grade beef. Let's put some top A beef up on there, and a lot of beef. No diddy. So I was thinking about that. My other thought that I wanted to get, that I've kind of like thrown out there, I've had in my head, and I kind of threw out there on Jake, but I don't know if he really disagreed with it or anything like that. But I would just say, like, when to get your perspective, like, who's your top candidate for if you could get your number 1 coach, who would that coach be?
Todd Monken of the Baltimore Ravens. He'd be number 1.
So he's not available right now. A lot of people, including myself, have put like Vrabel. For me, Vrabel and Flores is at the top of the chart for me. And reason being, I don't know what kind of disciplinarian Todd Monken would be, but like I feel like I got
don't know that either. Yeah.
Right, but I feel like that's there with Flores, and that's there with Brian Davis.
That's 100%.
I mean, not Brian Davis. Yeah, you know what I'm saying, with those 2 guys. So that would be like what I would want to do. But my other idea, and I don't know what you think about this, I think you've mentioned something. What if we give Vrabel the bag? Be like, hey, bro, we're gonna find a GM that suits what you want to do for your offense, and that guy's gonna get the players that you want. I'm not saying that he has like complete total input and control and everything like that, but like to just give him the opportunity to like decide what he want to do. Because what our biggest problem right now, right, is people making decisions that are not going to adversely affect our outcome. Man, I got a crazy ass neighbor, bro. She just knocked on my door. Like, why?
What?
Dude, man, she's something else. Anyhow,
but I would say to your Vrabel point, for me, I think there's a couple of things that you have to love about Vrabel. He's been a head coach before, so it's no guessing game anymore. It's not a first-time head coach. We're like, hopefully we can figure this out on the fly. He's not only been a head coach, like checking that just very limited line on the bucket list, but he was a success. Ryan Tannehill and the Titans went to the AFC Championship game under the leadership of Mike Vrabel. So success as a head coach, and then he's been a head coach, and the no bullshit thing. Like, he is a disciplinarian. He is going to crack the whip. He sets the line in the sand. And sometimes, as it was reported last offseason, that level of, what's the politically correct way to say this? That level of, accountability. Yeah. Chutzpah. That could be. That's a probably better word for it. Where he's just like, hey, I'm not fucking around, buddy boys, and they're like, oh shit, okay.
Yep.
And apparently, sometimes people argued last year he had a little too much chutzpah, which is why they didn't want him. They're like, oh, in this society of soft and this and that, someone who's coming in here like with a bludgeon hammer, that can rub some people the wrong way. But now it seems like now that last offseason and coaching cycle was zigging, now it's back to zagging. So I'd be for that. I was born and raised in a military family, so disciplinarian is all I've ever known in my life growing up. So the head coach before, all of that sounds good. To your point, it would all be, to me, who's the offensive hire, but it seems like he has a good history of picking offensive coordinators that are really good. So that part of it intrigues me. Yeah, Vrabel's in my top 3. He's number 2 on my list, only behind Monken. So yeah, I like Vrabel.
Yeah, I just need. I'm not opposed to Monken, but like I just need somebody that's going to be able to come in here and like get these dudes right. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we don't need a best friend. Every successful head coach that I think about, like truly successful head coach, controls their locker room. you know, and we need something like that. We need somebody to be like, you listen, you guys got to get it together, or I'm gonna sit your ass. You know, like it just, you know,
You think
somebody
about
that,
all of them,
and then
Tomlin, Vrabel.
right,
I mean, go through the
right,
hard asses. Yeah.
and even if we brought Rodgers back next year, if you have Vrabel, he gonna tell Aaron, you can sit on the side, bro, because you know what,
Straight
I'm
up.
gonna bring somebody else is gonna get an opportunity here. You're not gonna ruin my second chance. You know what I mean? That's just also a motivating factor. Like, this is his second chance. If Vrabel gets a second chance and it doesn't work out, he may not get a third. You know what I mean? It's
Definitely.
seldom happens, and so like he's gonna be more willing to, like, you know, put these guys in check because he's not. Yeah. So that's my thoughts, man. I hope you have a happy holiday, and you know, I ain't checked in a while, but you know, still got love. I'm still here in the background. It's just been a really disheartening season, but I also do agree with you. I ain't rooting for no damn losses. Like, I don't understand that. I don't understand that with Jets fan. Like, why y'all want to root for a loss? When has that ever worked out for us? Like, ever? You know what I mean? Like, it's never worked out. Like, you know, it is what it is. You know, this year we didn't tank and we ended up getting our left tackle for the future. So that's bullshit. You know what? The players get players that can play. That's what I want.
100%.
But I appreciate you,
Devin.
BG.
Yeah. Happy holidays, man. Yeah, that's what I would say. Folks, for all the tanking crowd, again, you can fan however you want to fan, I guess, but Darren Lee, D. Milliner, Kyle Wilson, do any of those names mean anything to you? The draft is not a guarantee, no matter where you pick. Hey, I just saw Ryan Leaf has a new podcast. Shout out to Ryan Leaf. Yeah, if I was fucking terrible. Ryan Leaf sucked. Okay. So number 2, Zach Wilson. I mean, go through the list of guys, of people that have been friggin' terrible in the draft for the Jets. Now, you know, I'm a rationalization guy. If the Jets lose and they end up if I'm rooting for win, rooting, and they end up losing, I'm like, well, better draft pick. But like winning, awesome. Winning's fun. Let's go. Come on now. Let's talk Seahawks. I love it from Jets 8:30, and we will. We have a Seattle Seahawks insider joining us on Friday for Thanksgiving tomorrow. My Hop on Pop will also be giving him some Thanksgiving and other action of that nature. Dakota said, Paul, I will never forget 84-16. Yeah, last night I lost in college football to Brandon Pockris. We've now played 4 times in our history, 4 times in college football. I won the first 2. I blew the barn doors off him in the very first game, and he quit in the middle of it. I was beating the shit out of him, and then he said, "Yeah, let's just end the game. You won. I concede," and I won that one. And then I beat him again, and then he beat me in the college football playoff. It was a close game, back and forth. I lost last second, and then he blew my barn doors off last night. So yeah, I got to. We got to go back to the lab. I need to change my offensive playbook. I need to change my play caller. There's a lot to change. You know, I was kerfwaffled last night. Absolutely sucked. So thank you for watching it. I do live stream most of my games. Dakota, Paul, no radio this morning? No, my last radio show of the week was yesterday. I am about to sign off because we have to go grab all the Thanksgiving food and things of that nature. So I appreciate everybody calling in from that perspective. Oh, hey, baby, Devin. Okay, DNY for life with a 5-piece combination. You love to see it, baby. He's one of my favorite callers that calls into the show. He always lays it straight, and you know, and apparently he has a weird neighbor. So I don't know what the hell's going on there, but hey, neighbor, back off, buddy. For God's sakes, Jesus, come on, live a little. We're now 34 members away from our number 1 Austrian Jet fan getting his emoji. Let's see who DNY for life just gave some memberships to. Let's see here. We got that one. Okay, we'll get the numbers out here in a second. Okay, we have. Here it is. Jimmy Jets, Tony, Emanian, M. Lopez 149, and Banks, who are all now gifted Boy Green Coffee Club membership from our boy Devin, aka DNY for life, and a beautiful avatar picture. Like, oh, look at him and his daughter there. That's awesome. So I love that. And now again, 34 members away from our number 1 Austrian Jet fan from getting his emoji. So we're chipping away all day. Thank you everybody that contributed here. A couple of quick thoughts. Jets 8:30. Paul, what's your plans for Thanksgiving? I got no friggin' clue, pal. After this show, which is about to end in a second or two, we're going to go to the store and try to figure out what the flying hoot we are doing for Thanksgiving. So it's up in the air. Normally, I'd travel to go see my father and go down to the New Hampshire area and see them. But my fiance is recovering. She just had a baby. Then we have the newborn baby, and then we have my daughter. So there's a lot of hoopla going on, long story short. So we won't be traveling for Thanksgiving this year. So we're going to try to figure it out, hem and hot here. That's the plan. And, of course, do Boy Green Daily tomorrow morning with me and my pop. So we'll be on here. I hope you guys see that. Johnny Boy, bury the controller, Boy Green. That's a good thing. I'll tell you this. So the game's going on last night. I couldn't have my mic on because the baby was screaming. There was a lot of hoopla. So I had the mic muted, which is probably not a enjoyable stream for Boy Green people saying, oh man, can't wait to hear Boy Green. And I said nothing because I had to have the mic muted. But I have a new TV, and if you turn on, so we have multiple video games attached to it. So there's a PS5, there's a Switch, and all this stuff. If on this new TV, if someone turns on like a Switch controller, the TV flips and automatically jumps over to the new system that was turned on. So I'm in the middle of a play. I don't know what play it was. I'm in the middle of a play. My daughter goes, beep, Daddy, Switch. And I'm like, wait, no. And then the TV went, and it flipped. And I'm like, son of a gosh darn it. And it flipped. And in the middle of a play, like a horrible play happened when that went together. And that was god awful. So I almost spiked the controller. I got very, very upset. So it was tough. We're going to be back at it. We will be back at it. Like I said, tomorrow morning on Boy Green Daily with me and my pop. I appreciate y'all. Thanks, everybody. Fun show. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. Happy holidays. Happy Thanksgiving. We'll see